Hi, this is Keshav of CSC Data Science. Today our topic was programming for problem solving using C. Today our topic was guidelines for developing flowcharts. Introduction. Computers are capable of handling various complex problems which are tedious and routine nature. In order to the computer solve a problem, a method for the solution and detailed procedure has to be prepared by the programmer. The problem solving involves detailed study of the problem redefinition, identification of the input data, output requirements and conditions and limitations, alternative methods of solution, selection of the most suitable method, preparation of the list of procedures and steps to obtain the solution, generating the output. In order to that a computer solve a problem, a method for the solution and a detailed procedure has to be prepared by the programmer. Preparation of the list of the procedures and the steps to obtain the result introduces the algorithmic approach to the problem solving. The algorithm is a sequence of the instructions designed by in such a way that if instructions are executed in a specific sequence, the desired results will be obtained. The instructions should be precise and concise that the result should be obtained after a finite execution of steps. This means that the algorithm should not repeat one or more instructions indefinitely. That means the algorithm is a sequence of the instructions designed in such a way that the preparation of the list of the procedures and the steps to obtain the result introduces the instructions are executed in a specific sequence that desired results will be obtained. The instructions should be precise and concise that the result should not be obtained after a finite execution of steps. This means the algorithm should not repeat one or more instructions indefinitely. It should terminate at some point and result the desired input. An algorithm should possess the following characteristics. Each and every instruction should be precise and clear. Each instruction should be performed a finite number of times. Algorithm should ultimately terminate. When the algorithm terminates, the desired result should be obtained. These are some steps to get a desired output of a program. Flowcharts. Before you start coding a program, it is necessary to plan a step-by-step solution to the task for your program will carry out. Such a plan we can symbolically develop using a diagram. A diagram is then called a flowchart. Hence, flowchart is a symbolic representation of the solution to a given task. A flowchart can be developed for practically any job. Flowcharting is a tool that can help us to develop the represent graphically programmed logic sequence. It also enables us to trace and dialect any logical that occur that other errors before the programs are written. Flowchart in a program are used vastly nowadays. Without flowchart, we can't get the idea of how the program is done inside the computer. Types of flowcharts. Computer professionals use two types of flowchart that are program flowcharts, system flowcharts. Program flowcharts. These are used by programmers. A program flowchart shows the program structure, logic flow, and operations performed. It also forms an important part of the documentation of the system. It broadly includes the following: program structure, program logic, data inputs and various stages, data processing, computations and calculations, conditions on which the decisions are based, branching and looping sequences, results, various output. Emphasis in a program flowchart is on the logic. System flowcharts. System flowcharts are used by the system analyst to show the various processes done within the systems, outputs and operations on data in a system. In this course, the material discussing program flowcharts only. Flowchart symbols. Normally, an algorithm is expressed as a flowchart and then the flowchart is converted into a program with the programming language. Flowcharts are independent of programming language being used. Hence, one can fully concentrate on the logic of the program solving at this stage. A large number of the programmers use flowcharts to assist them in the development of the computer programs. Once a flowchart is fully ready, the programmer then write in the programming language. At the stage, he need not to concentrate on a logic, but can give more than a coding each instruction in the box of the flowchart in terms of the statement the program language is selected. A flowchart can be described as a picture of the logic to be included in the computer program. It is always recommended for the beginner to draw flowcharts prior to writing programs in a second language. Flowcharts are very helpful during the testing of the program as well as incorporating further modifications. Flowcharting has many standard symbols. Flowcharts use the boxes for the different shapes to denote different types of instructions. The actual instruction is written in the box. These boxes are connected with the solid lines which have arrowheads to indicate the direction of the flow of the flowchart. These boxes are which used in the flowcharts are standardized to have specific meanings. These flowchart symbols have been standardized by the American National Standards Institute (ANSI). The flowcharts are very helpful during the testing of the program as well as incorporating further modifications. Flowcharting has many standard symbols. Flowcharts boxes of the different shapes denote different types of instructions. While using the flowchart symbols, following points have to be kept in the mind. Shape of the symbol is important and must not be changed. Size can be changed as required. The symbol must immediately recognizable. The details inside the symbol must be clearly legible. The flow lines as far as possible must not cross terminal symbol. Every flowchart has a unique starting point and ending point. The flowchart begins at the start terminator and ends at the stop terminator. The starting point is indicated with the word start inside the terminator symbol. The ending point is indicated with the word stop inside the terminator symbol, where can only be one start and one stop to the entire flowchart. In the case of the program logic involves a pause, it indicated with the terminal symbol. Input output symbol. This symbol is used to denote any input output function in the program. Thus, if any input and output via input device like keyboard, tape, card reader, etc. It will be indicated in the flowchart which with the help of input output symbol. Clearly all the output instructions for the output devices like printers, plotters, magnetic tapes, disks, monitors are indicated in the input output symbol. And in the diagram you can see the input output symbol. Process symbol. A process symbol is used to represent the arithmetic and data movement instructions in the flowchart. All arithmetic processes of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division are indicated in the process symbol. The logical process of the data movement from one memory location to another is also represented in the process box. If there is more than one process instructions to be executed sequentially, they can be placed in the same process box one below the other in the sequence which they are to be executed. The decision symbol is used in the flowchart to indicate the point where a decision is to be made and branching done upon the result of the decision to one or more alternative paths. The criteria for decision making is to be written as possible paths should be accounted for. During the execution will be found depending upon the result of the decision. Connectors. In the situation where the flowcharts becomes big, flow lines start crossing each other at many places causing confusion. This will also result in making flowchart difficult to understand. Also, the flowchart may not fit in a single page for big programs. Thus, whenever the flowchart becomes a complex and spreads over a page of number of pages, connectors are used. Connector represent the entry form or exit to the other part of the flowchart. A connector symbol is indicated by a circle and the letter digit placed in a circle. A pair of such identically labeled connectors are used to indicate the correct situations where the flowcharts are complex spread over one more than another. Thus, a connector indicates an exit from the some section in the flowchart and an entry to into another section. Introduction to flowcharting by phi of the flowchart. If an arrow enters a flowchart but does not leave it, it means that there is an exit point in the flowchart and the program control is transferred to identically labeled connector which has an outlet. This connector will be connected to the further program flow from the point where it has exited. Connectors do not represent any operation in the flowchart. Their use is only for the purpose of the increased convenience and clarity. Flow lines are solid lines with the arrowheads indicate flow of the show the exact sequence in which the instructions are exited. Normal flow of the flowchart is described from the top to bottom or left to right. Developing the flowchart. Developing flowcharts, following the points have to be considered. Defining the problem, identify the various steps required to form a solution. Determine required input and output parameters. Get the expected input data values and output result. Determine the various computations and decisions involved. With the background of the flowcharts and the flowchart symbols, let us now draw some sample flowcharts. These are the sample flowcharts. This is a sample flowchart to add two numbers and determine which is greater or lesser. The steps are start in the introduction of the flowcharting, get two number A and B. If A greater than B, then print A, else print B. Stop. Flowcharts for loops. Looping refers to the repeated use of the one or more steps in statement or block statements within a loop are executed repeatedly with the number of two loops. One loop is a loop will be where the loop, by the loop, then the loop. One in this case the values of the variables within the loop have no effect when the number of times of the loop is executed. In the other type when which the is known as a variable loop, the operations are repeated until a specific condition is met. Here the number of times this repeated can vary. A loop process is a general includes setting the initializing counter, execution of the operations, testing a complexion operations, incrementing the counter. The test could either be determine whether the loop has been executed a specified number of times, whether the specified condition is not met. Programming considerations. Most of the programming languages have the number of loop constraints, effectively handling the repetitive statements in the program. These include do while loop, for while loop, for loop, for next loop. In the most of the looping situations, we can make use of the counters in situation where the loop is repeated on the basis of the conditions, relational operators, and used to check the conditions. Example to find the first sum of n number. This example illustrates the loop of specific number of times. The steps are start, create members, read in s set s equal to sum to 0, set counter y l equal to l to 1, s equal to s plus 1, print s stop. Thank you.